Welcome back, everyone. This is Griot of the Diaspora, and I'm your host, Nakaira G. And today's episode is a This Week in Africa News episode. So basically, I'm going to go over some current events and some trending topics that have been going on in Africa world news. And we're just going to get into it and unpack that. So let's talk about it. Okay, so to start off this episode, I want to talk about Namibia. Namibia just welcomed in its first woman president and vice president duo, along with Speaker of the House. And this has been, circulating all over social media. And congratulations to Namibia, who has welcomed in their first female president. There are other countries that have been bringing in more female representation. So we always love that. And so another photo circulated coming out of Namibia of a woman in like her traditional attire. And she was also a nurse. And a Twitter user or an X user basically made a caption and said, "I don't know how I feel about this." So as you can see in the photo here, she's dressed in the traditional attire in the mud clay. That's what's making her skin red. And apparently this photo was in reference to Namibia's Independence Day. Apparently Independence Day also fell on the day of issuing in the new president. And so one of the ways that people were celebrating was obviously to be in their traditional attire. And, I'm not really big on like that type of stuff. I feel like the more traditional, the better. I feel like, we need to see more of this. I feel like in concepts of revolution and all those types of things, we should expect to see more of this. The concept of the medical industry and hospitals and all that stuff is going to change over time. But I thought this photo was really, really dope, and I might even print it out to put on my wall. So let's move right along. So shout out to Namibia for their first woman president, and hopefully we can stay tuned on all the things that she's doing in her presidency. Okay, so y'all, make sure you download my new ebook. It is a travel planner and journal. I made this about a year and a half ago, and it's really, really cool. There are 10 different entries. So as you are on your travel journeys, make sure you download this ebook. It's only $10, and you can get it on my website today at nakedgoldonline.com. You can download it, you can print it, whatever works for you. Make sure you cop that today. Let's move right along to Ghana. So it looks like the illegal mining situation here in Ghana is getting worse. There have been reports of gunmen now basically, protecting the illegal mining areas. It's not everywhere yet reported that is happening, but there have been a few areas that have been reported to have gunmen and there to have been shootings and things like that. So people are definitely speaking out still on this issue. It seems like, the presidency and the last administration kind of refused to really address it and really talk about it. And there have been a few journalists that have tried going to these different areas, and that's where they found out that there are now gunmen at these different areas. So hopefully we hear more reports coming out about that soon, but let's move right along. Okay, so as many of you know, the Trump administration in America has been doing the most. And so Dutch descendants in South Africa, aka Boers or aka white South Africans, are still pleading their case to the Trump administration and seeking support for independence. So if you have been paying attention, the Trump administration and Trump have been making these different announcements and remarks to white South Africans, claiming that he's going to protect them and that they can come to America and receive citizenship and all these different things. So I don't know what white people think is happening and what world they are living in and why they need to have like world dominance wherever they go. But that's another conversation. But this is basically stemming out of that conversation and obviously stemming out of the relationship between Trump and Elon Musk. Now, all of a sudden, white South Africans are acting like they are refugees in a country that they colonized and are now descendants, like direct descendants of colonizers, and they want rights and privileges to the land in South Africa. So that has been happening, and they haven't really gotten anywhere with that. There's just these pathetic videos that keep coming out of these people basically begging Trump for assistance and support and all these different things, especially in the wake of US aid being cut recently. So let's get back to Ghana. So also talking about Ghana, recently a Gollywood famous actor named Little Win, he had a movie that released last year, but now it looks like he has a deal with Netflix, Amazon Prime, and other platforms to now showcase his movie, A Country Called Ghana, on their platform. So that is a win. Shout out to Little Win. He's a very famous actor out here. He's in so many Gollywood movies. And he does a lot of different, projects every year. And he's been around for a long time. So that's a win if you're looking for, Ghana content, Ghana media and movies and things like that. Definitely look into him. Okay, and so as you guys know, Burkina Faso has been in the news like consistently because it just seems like Captain Ibrahim Traoré is just making these moves as quickly as possible. Now, as I reported in the last videos, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has been implementing a lot of different factories, some factories that have already been existing for a few years and some that have been renovated or funding has now been pushed into and reinstated for it to actually service the country. And so recently, Ibrahim Traoré is still making headlines in African media as well as European media, specifically France. So Traoré spoke on his recent partnerships with Russia. So let's look at this video.
C'est une famille parce que nous avons la même histoire. La Russie a consenti d'énormes sacrifices pour libérer le monde du nazisme pendant la Seconde Guerre mondiale. Les peuples africains, nos grands-pères, ont été déportés de force aussi pour aider l'Europe à se débarrasser du nazisme. Nous partageons la même histoire en ce sens que nous sommes les peuples oubliés du monde, qu'ils soient dans les livres d'histoire, dans les documentaires ou films, on tend donc à balayer le rôle prépondérant qu'a joué la Russie et de l'Afrique dans cette lutte contre le nazisme. Pour ce qui concerne le Burkina Faso, aujourd'hui nous sommes confrontés depuis plus de 8 ans à la forme de manifestation la plus barbare, la plus violente du néocolonialisme, de l'impérialisme. L'esclavage qu'on tend encore à nous imposer. Nos dévanciers nous ont bien appris une chose. L'esclave qui n'est pas capable d'assumer sa révolte ne mérite pas que l'on s'apitoie sur son sort. Nous ne nous apitoyons pas sur nos sorts, on ne demande pas que quelqu'un s'apitoie sur notre sort. Le peuple burkinabé a décidé de lutter contre l'île terroriste en mesure de relancer son développement. Dans cette lutte, des vaillants peuples, des vaillantes populations se sont engagées à prendre les armes face au terrorisme. Ceux que nous avons affectueusement appelés les VDP, des volontaires. Nous sommes sûrs.
As I reported in my last videos on West Africa updates and Burkina Faso, I talked about France's retaliation with Traoré due to his resilience against their colonial presence in his country. Macron, France's prime minister, continues to use media outlets to cause tribal wars and to make military threats against Burkina Faso. So remember, France is Burkina Faso's colonizer. Okay, and so not only does Burkina Faso have this relationship with France that is a long colonial relationship, but they also have a neo-colonial relationship with France. And so a lot of these different moves that Captain Ibrahim Traoré have been making have been in retaliation of the historical and the current colonial relationship that the country has with France. So lastly, there still have been back and forths. And so apparently there was a recent media report from this publication here. And it looks like they are trying to paint a narrative that there are tribal wars happening in Burkina Faso, and they're trying to keep this concept of military threat happening in Burkina Faso. But really, in my opinion, at least, and based off of just the information that I've been receiving from a lot of like the Burkinabes that are in the country, it seems like France is obviously still upset that Captain Ibrahim Traore kicked out the troops, and he kicked out other colonial institutions, and he's also changing the flight arrangements and the visas, and he's changing a lot of those things so that it's not so easy for these white French people to just come in and out of the country and have these special privileges that people in Africa, and especially in his country, don't have in return when it comes to France. So that has been happening. And so lastly, the current president, John Mahama, also went to Burkina Faso, and he made an announcement that he is working towards having a flight route from Ghana to Burkina Faso. So that is also a really big announcement, and I'm happy about that because I've been seeing people, travel to Burkina Faso in the past few months, and a lot of people have been going by car. And so by car can mean so many things, okay? You can fly to Tamale and then take a car from there. And when I say a car, I'm talking about either a taxi or a trotro or some type of bus system that's already going. I will say in Ghana, they have a lot of different bus stations that's going from Kumasi to Accra, from Accra to Central Region. They have different shuttle services like that. So you do have that option. And so going from Ghana to Burkina Faso usually will be going through the border by land. So hopefully this happens soon. We will definitely make the announcement when they take their first flight. But that is it for today. Thank you for staying tuned on This Week in Africa updates. Until next time.